it is that time again. Now, I have done a little bit more since you saw me last time, but not a lot. One of the main things I've done is glue 10 ball bearings back on the top of the sticks because, well, they fell off as predicted that they would. And those were the ones that I'd hot glued on. Now, some of them do seem pretty strongly on, so they are being given chances, but I do have a horrible feeling that the ball bearings are generically going to come off until I glue them all on with stuff. Bead glue, that's the word I'm after, bead glue. It is too friggin' hot. Absolutely too friggin' hot. So this is not going to be a long stream because it's just too hot for that crap today. But we now have a few more bobbins. One thing I am liking is the fact that because they're heavy, they maintain a tension well, even on like this pillow. So they maintain the whole bit of tension on the lace so it doesn't kind of go wonky. Not that on this particular pillow that was a huge issue. But it keeps, not that they need to be tight, but it keeps a level of tight on there. And it makes it a little bit easier to see what you're doing. So yes. I need to move that up a little bit. Right, that's now all lined up to start the snakes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can get more pairs in, but I mean, in theory, we can get this many pairs in between the edges, but I'm sticking with 6 for now, although that's a stupid number. I'm sticking with 6 for now, just because you're too long, because your knot's fallen off, that's right. Yeah. It's not 6, is it? It's more than that one. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So there's actually 2, 6 pairs. For some reason, good old brain was saying that 3 times 4, because of course they're 4 bobbins, but I'm thinking in pairs. Anyway, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But you're not really ready, so we'll push you out the way. You're kind of, no, I need you. So we'll need you and you. I watched you grow. That's because you're just being annoying. Hello! Hello, hello, hello! Just trying to find a good length for me bobbins. Hello, how you doing? We are doing okay. But we need... Oh, I wish I was only just getting up. It's 7 o'clock at night, yeah? So, I have... Hang on. Doing a bit of prep work to demonstrate. Because they're all hiding around the edges. So... I have all my bobbins in the bag, and except for these ones, because all the ball bearings fell off those, and so the glue is fresh air, although it's a few hours old now. They claim they don't set for 48 hours or up to 48 hours, so I'm going to use them last. So as predicted, the hot glue inside has beautifully filled in the hole that is made when I put the bead on the end, because obviously the bead is wider than the gap, therefore there is a void under the bead and between the bead and the wooden stick, and the hot glue beautifully fills that with a, let's call it plastic. But basically the bead was held on by willpower, because in the bottom of my bag there were a pile of ball bearings, so I've used bead glue again, because the bead glue ones seem to hang on pretty well. So we are... And any that fall off, if they fall off the bead glue ones, now how will I know? Well, if there's no... Basically, if there's no bead glue in it, it was definitely a bead glue. Sorry, if there was no hot glue in it, it was definitely a bead glue. If there's a bit of a layer between the hot glue and a harder layer between the hot glue and the end, then it was one I bead glued on top of the hot glue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, I have to count them out loud because I can't talk and count to 8 in my head. Because I'm stupid that way. And Rory, as always, would like some attention. Little man. Oh, you've cooled down a bit now. That's a good thing. Seriously, I've never known a dog get as hot as Rory. Rory goes outside and he comes in. I promise you not. I took my dinner out the oven tonight because I had pie and chips. Regretting the choice of hot food, but I had pie and chips. I swear my dinner was colder than the dog was earlier. And it had been in at like 190 centigrade. Now, obviously, Rory was not 190 centigrade. But it felt he was hotter. Because he's a little black dog, he does tend to absorb the heat a lot. And I do worry for him, because it's so easy for dogs to get heat stroke and the like. And well, I worry for him. Because I don't want him to... Rory! The little paw of doom. My man. What? You needing hugs? Oh, I'm being attacked from both sides. What? 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 Ah! You can't fit in my armpit, Amy. What's the matter, Rory? I know what's wrong with them. I know exactly what's wrong with them. They're telling me I didn't do the dog thing. I need to go feed the dogs. Back in a minute. I'll get me some drink as well, because I noticed I didn't do that either because I'm stupid. Back in a minute. There you go. Get rid of the yawns for now. Hello, hello, hello. Back. Right. I have cold drink. Dogs have food. So, like I said yesterday, I could do wind 16 times onto one bobbin and then wind 8 of them onto another so that it kind of chops the string in half and I don't need to tie the knot. But where's the fun in that? Because this is a test piece, it's actually easier just to wind 8 onto a bobbin, 8 onto a bobbin and tie a knot at the top. For this is not for show. And even in the real thing, as we said, this would be inside a strengthening strip to have it hanging from. So, to be honest, it doesn't really matter if it's got knots in it. Whereas I was cold yesterday, today I'm distinctly not cold. It was not cool in here when I turned the fan on, so it hasn't remained cool. I don't think it's got any hotter, but it's definitely not cool in here. The things that helped yesterday did not do a good enough job today. So let me move this over here onto my table. And you can't really see it, it's just, well, just down here. Trying to work out where you can see. Yeah, you can't see it by literally matter of not a lot. But it means I don't have to reach over my table then. That'll be a bit easier for me. So. Oops, keyboard's in the way. So. I think the British phrase for it is it's hotter than Satan's crotch. It's not the actual temperature it's the problem, it's the muddiness. Too short, too long, too short, too long. There we go, that's a bit better. Two pins, you bozo. Okay. One of the big problems I've got is because I'm doing what's known as rainbow pairs, i.e. a loop, another loop, so that the two bobbins aren't together. This creates a issue where this bobbin isn't friends with this bobbin, so it's harder to adjust them, and occasionally, you know, I mean, it's also good in the sense that, you know, I mean, this one's friends with this one. This kind of demonstrates the problem, but they do tend to kind of join together, and these two will be forever paired now, but at the start they're not a pair. Not that I actually care that they were a pair, but it does mean that that they're easy to end up, you know, like pulling on this one moves that one. It makes it easy for them to end up pulling apart a bit and getting a little bit wonky, but it also means that until they're all kind of, I don't know, a little more firmly secured in, they do tend to want to move. So for example, if we get down, if you look, there's a clear path from this pair here all the way down here. So until we get here and we do funky gibbons in this, it's going to be down here before they're properly anchored. But again, this is a test piece, no one cares. I mean, the short answer is you loop 2 bobbins together to form like a ring, so then they're hang together in pairs. Yeah. Oops, just spilt Coke on my leg. Oh well. Pulled it up a bit much. Never mind, it's only my leg. Well, she's my trousers, but there we go. Right. Lace making is a bizarre hobby, to be honest. It really strikes you as something that would be done by rich ladies on a Saturday afternoon. You know, in a very large English estate, not a garden, an estate. You know what I mean? And doesn't feel like a practical. I mean, I know many women did it for quite a while as means of making money, but that was kind of back in the days where a pound would buy you a billion things. Today, I was saying this to Nautical earlier. The actual material costs of making lace are fairly cheap. In the sense of, spool of thread is about £9, and it's taken, you know, spooling a bit to do half a curtain. So say 3 spools for a curtain. Well, that's 20 something. You know, we'll go with. It works out about £20 a curtain, kind of thing. Even £25. But the problem is, the 18 months it was going to take me to make it. No one's going to want to pay for me to live for 18 months to make a flecking curtain. And that's obviously assuming they've got the small size window I have. If they've got big windows, you know, the ones that are really, really huge, so if in the front of the house we've got 3 individual windows that form a window. If that was one big window, you can't really have 3 different curtains for it. So you'd need to make an almighty crap ton of things and effectively make 3 put together. Well, if it's going to take you 18 months a window, that's like, you know, 5 years, give or take a bit, just under, to make a curtain for it. Who's going to want to pay 5 years' salary? Even at minimum wage, that's still, you know, 40-something thousand pounds for a curtain. No one in their right mind's going to pay that. It might only cost me 100 quid to get the, you know, or so, well, it'll be less than that, wouldn't it? We said 60 a thing. It's 180 quid or something for the you know, the string to make it. But it's the it's the 5 years of doing nothing else that's the problem. Yeah, I just, and I think that's something that we've all lost a little bit of these days, is that handcrafted stuff is worth the money. This doesn't feel right. I think it is. No, it can't be. Because you go to there. Something's not right. Somehow. That's because I need another pair of bobbins on here. That's why. Completely got away from myself then. Let's make these a bit shorter. Some of it is the fact that it is stupidly hot. I also find myself wanting to be nicer to these bobbins because I made them. And I know the effort that went in. It's not too hot to just sort of sit and stare. It's a bit too hot to be doing, well, frankly, anything else. Moving, breathing, thinking, especially thinking. side of that. I said this last time we did the strip, in that because you put 4 bobbins on and you only really use 2 of them until the next row when you use all 4 of them, but it feels like it grows a lot quicker because you put 4 on and you work a row. You put 4 on, you only work 2. You put 4 on, you only seem to work 2. The fact that you work all the way through all the predecessors, which includes the ones that you kind of skipped last time. So, for example, these 2 did not get work last time, hence they're just sitting here. But they will this time. But you don't notice them because you never actively work them through the row. And so it makes it seem to gain bobbins really quickly because you're constantly loading 4 bobbins. Yeah, I still can't do these knots on screen. I need to stick them on the end of my nose so I can see them. They're not hard, they just need to see what's going on. Oh look, a spam bot. Made me screw up my knot, spam bot. Bad spam bot. You only come here to die. I mean, I really can't believe you make money out of this. Let's try the knot again. Because while I was concentrating, spam bot pops up. Now, the other thing that is quite weird is previously I struggled with making this knot because of the weight of the bobbin. Yet the fact that these weighs more, I seem to have even more success with these knots, which makes no bloody sense whatsoever. But I think it's because I can use the weight of the bobbin to shorten the end of the string that I want to be shorter, i.e. to not waste so much in the knot, and that helps, if you know what I mean. I think I'm actually going to convert to looping over the top. Bobbins. Oh, rapidly losing interest with the heat, that's for sure. Oh dear. So I don't know where you are in the world, but please, I hope for you it's not as hot as it is here. Or if it is, it doesn't feel so crappy. There's been quite a few posts on social media that I've seen today about how, you know, people who used to kind of laugh at us when the British said, "Oh, it's terribly hot," and they all kind of went, "Pfft," and then they've come and lived here and they're going, "You ain't kidding, are you?" And we went, "No, we're not. You know, I know we're reserved and we tend to be slightly understated. No, it's Satan's crotch here. Welcome." This is very much I mean, I mentioned it yesterday. You know, when I was a kid, well, I say a kid, I was 16, a borderline kid, it's old enough to have sex and have children in this country. But when I was a kid, went to Egypt with my dad, and we'd been down to Aswan where it had been 40-something degrees, right? Came back to Cairo, and the pilot announced, and it's 36 degrees, and we all kind of went, "Oh, that's hot," because of course, like everything, you know, got off, we all put jumpers on because we were cold. Because of course, where we'd been, we'd semi-acclimatised to, and well, in comparison, 30 to 40 something, it's 10 degrees cooler. Of course, it feels cold. You basically never acclimatise to British heat. There is something about it that is just uniquely shit. Apologies to the world, but I believe it's our penance. We don't get really tornadoes. We don't really get earthquakes. We get floods, but, you know, again, usually in predictable areas. It's, you know, if you live in a place called something under marsh or on sea, chances are, because it's fucking wet, you know, you got to be a bit dim to not realise that that's potentially an option. And so what I want to do is put that on there like that, and put you up and over. No, that is what I want to do, but not like that, clearly. What I want is that. Like that. There we go. Because now they're pairs, right? But yes, it is. I mean, I'm not sweating, which is a good thing. I just feel like I'm under a grill, or, you know, I'm on a barbecue or something. Everything seems to be radiating heat, and of course, this light here, this one up here, is radiating heat. My computer's radiating heat. And of course I had chips and stuff for tea, so the oven's hot, so it added to the heat in the kitchen. And, you know, right now, don't need that. It's... Did I shut both windows upstairs? Bugger if I remember. Right. Again, that is the other problem I have. First thing in the morning, you go to bed going, right, I'll do that in the morning. You get up, go downstairs, go to work. Any thoughts from the night before have long since left the building. Why is my ear gone quiet? Should be noise. Oh yes, because it... Browser discovered an error. I'll try harder. I ordered a cork board. I think I did anyway. Pretty sure I did. I looked at ordering. Let me check. Did I actually order it? Or did I just stare at it a bit? Oh look, Amazon are having a Prime Day. Woo. Not now, but soon. I did order. But it's not entirely a cork board. It is a felt board, but for what I need it for, that should be fine. But it was a heck of a lot cheaper, so that was the reasoning behind that. So that should make easier to prick things. And I can use the rest of it as spare parts for... they're sticky backed, so I can put them up in the kitchen as things to pin things to remind me to do shit, so you know, that could be useful. Probably rip the paint off when I come to take it off, but you know how it is. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's put you in a stick then, because that's enough, basically, to do a snake, or start a snake, but let's put you over there, you over there. We're almost halfway. The next pair gives us the halfway mark. If you consider how much it takes to get to the halfway mark on a triangle of adding the pairs in, everything just feels a bit quicker with the strips, which is another reason I think I quite like them so much. watching a bit of The Sandman earlier. It's not something I'd watched before, and I haven't read the book. I need to point that out. I was doing alright for about the first 5 episodes or so, because I've had them on in the background, and everything was kind of, yeah, I get this, he's chasing him, and he's looking for them, and, you know, kind of moments. And suddenly it doesn't make sense anymore, and I've kind of lost it. Oh, my friends. We've got 3 more days of this bloody heat. I think half the reason I'm a bit nervous about these bobbins is I am paranoid now all the ball bearings are going to fall off. Oops. Had to rewind a bit there because it got a bit kind of wonky. Sorry, I'm listening to Darth Microtransactions as I often do, and his music's just turned into Pirates of the Caribbean. For some reason, that's made me laugh. Because he was after mining stuff earlier, mining tunes. You know, me, I dig me a hole, diggy diggy hole. You know. Why do you look funny? I think you just look sitting funny. See, annoyingly, these have got knots all the way down here. It's just irritating. Because I tried to keep all the knots at the top. The easiest way to do that, of course, is to do like an overhand slip knot and hang them from a pin. So you knot them together, but that you then make a loop where the knot is and put the loop in the pin so that it can't move, because it's, well, you put the pin in the loop so it can't go anywhere. Because you don't really want knots coming into your actual curtain, because obviously if this was a real curtain, that'd be kind of down here somewhere. Well, you don't want that. You want them all up here where the pins are. So, but again, this is an audition piece for the shapes in for the middle, rather than, you know, going on public as my best work ever. So even though I am trying to keep the knots at the top, apparently I'm failing. Hence, I think we're going to have to do some overhand loop knot shit round a pin. There are other ways of doing it. So other lace varieties, instead of having pins and you hang threads over a pin, you tie a big knot, you put your pin back here, and then you plait them down to where you want the pin to start, and you then have loads of little rat tails that seem really stupid, if you ask me. But you plait them together. Which I can kind of see a point, but I also think, don't really want to be doing that. Because then I'd feel, well, what do you do with the rat tails? Because they'd all be lumpy and stupid. It wouldn't be so bad, and hear me out on this, if you were going to make like a bookmark and you were going to have like a tassel at the bottom and a tassel at the top. I mean, you could. I mean, hello, you watch me lose my marbles on a daily basis, pretty much. So, do not think that it is not an intellectual issue. It is a stubborn issue. I think you could certainly do it. Because I totally agree that if you can lift something up, you can make lace. Whether you want to, whether you have the stubbornness to keep going at it, even though you want to take it out into the garden and set light to it, it is that I can definitely believe is somewhere where, you know, it's easy to fail at. I think is the short answer. It's easy to want to take it out in the garden, set light to everything, and pretend that never happened. Because, well, you've seen me lose my marbles, and exactly that's, you know, there are times when walking away. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it is, well, I can't really show you, but just over there is a table on its end. Not that, well, I did flip it, but I didn't flip it in rage. I flipped it so I could glue the fleet back on. But it has been that way for 4 years, maybe 5 now. But yes, flipping tables is definitely... personally, I kind of like the idea of setting light to it all. I watched Naughty Celt do some of his rope work the other day, and he set fire to it to get rid of all the little tufty, edgy, frilly bits, and I'm like, ugh. You know, if I did that, I just know there'd be a big bond, because he's indoors, remember? And you're like, there'd be a big bonfire in my house if I set light to it. Although, blasting a torch at my lace making, that could be a thing. Yeah, I'd feel a little bit more protective about my bobbins, to be honest. The bobbins are good. You know, I can see the therapeutic relief in the setting light to it a little bit. Definitely could see a bit of therapy in that. It's like he got to use a hammer on his, and you're sitting there going, I envy that. I envy the fact that when it's messing you around, you whack it with a hammer. I could get behind that. That could be a thing. I don't need more hobbies though. But there is a lot of it that is that kind of thing. Is sometimes you watch a hobby and there is a bit of you that goes, I know, stomp, throw, bash. Bash. Lots of bashing. Yeah, a girl could get behind bashing. This, of course, is weaving. Stomp on a treadle, chuck the bobbin, whack, you know. Because sometimes you do whack it really hard. Now, normally you don't whack it hard. You know, weavers say place. No, you bash it. It's a bit like... sorry, stick, right? That's right, they're attached to the back of the thing, and I pulled on it and it kind of made a leap for me. But you know, it's like calling it a stick. Well, it is a stick. I'm not the only one that's called them sticks, so it's not just me. There are times when, you know, having a tad of reality in your work is required, and you know, poke, wrap, pull defines both knitting and crochet to a large extent. Stabby, stabby, all forms of sewing, right? Sometimes it just makes you feel better. Stab, stab it, you know, it's a thing, right? I kind of do like the idea of doing, say, maybe lace making with rope to an extent to make a wall decoration, because obviously, yes, I could make it out of the finest threads, but unless you walked up to it to look at it, you're not really going to see anything. But if you made it with, I don't know, 4mm paracord, well, then you would. And that could be a thing. You could do, you know, something like this, but with 4mm paracord, stick some weights on the end of the paracord, and make a wall hanging. It's not my ears falling out. There we go. Oh, I'm too hot. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't need you. Or you. Right. Let's grab me a couple more sticks. Dropped one. In case you're wondering, I've got a whole new other box of sticks, but despite having dropped one, I've still got many sticks. So I bought lots of sticks because it's better to have a few too many sticks than not enough sticks. I'm going to put... Yes! Well, effectively, lace making and macrame is pretty much the same thing. Although it tends to be with macrame, you do actually do knots. Basically, not that I could pronounce it, but the Japanese kimono kind of thing. Not kimonos, as in the kind of dressing gown things, but kimono, the one where you have an arse load of threads and you cross them over each other in repetition and make pretty patterns. That's kind of more like lace making in that sense, although they tend to make braids and the like out of it. Apparently I don't need you either. How does that work? How did that happen? Right. You two can go in here then. Okay. Right. Time for a snag. I'm going to make a snag. Done on this one now. See, you're a bit short and you're a bit long. Sort you out a little bit. Oh, there we go. Oh God, excuse me. First half of our snake is achieved. They do work very well for doing this cloth stitch kind of skipping over everything thing, because there's nothing for it to snag on. Because that's the problem with the mushroom Danish things, is that as you're doing that, sometimes the threads catch on the mushroom of another bobbin and it gets annoying, which is why they all must be, you know, almost perfectly lined up, otherwise you just get frustrated with it. So from that point of view, a rip-roaring success. I'm going to pull you up and then pull on you. This. Hello, Rory. Thank you for that. There's no way you didn't hear that. You're right, little man. You've got water. I know you do. You do. You're right. was more of the wretch burp. Wasn't it? Oh no. Yeah. Hello, Amy. Are you now feeling left out? Hello. Hello, little miss. You need your claws doing. Rory won't let me. You will. But you need your claws doing, my darling girl. Because they're digging in my leg. They are. And much as I love you, you need like slightly less kind of French manicure look. Because all of her nails are white. So she really has like the French manicure look with the long pink oval with the little white ends on them. Don't you? Where's Hefflumps? Or Dino? Not so cute when digging in your leg, though. It has to be said. Like all things, it's harder to find the cuteness then. Where's Hefflump or Dino? There he is. You bought Hefflumps. Can I have him a sec? I want to show everybody. Look, we have Hefflump. Look, there he is. There, everyone's met Hefflump. Yes. He's a good girl. You are. You are. You are. It's not that fucking purple squirrel. If Tenchi Extra Life was here, Tenchi would tell you of purple squirrel. The tales of purple squirrel. You may notice I am slightly intolerable of many things in my life, and I don't pretend to have patience. I really don't. As you know, I claim stubborn, not patient, right? And purple squirrel was Fiona's, and Fiona was beautiful. She really was. But when she arrived here, she had no belongings. And so I bought a bunch of dog stuff off Amazon, as you do. And the thing she picked to be hers was basically a purple Kong toy called Squirrel Dude. Go to Amazon, look it up. You'll see him. She had the big one, because she was not a small dog. She had the big one. But Fiona was part collie. And basically she was collie in the wrong fur. So if you were awake, and she was awake, you must be throwing purple squirrel. That was the only rule. You are awake, I'm awake. Why aren't you throwing purple squirrel? And needless to say, 60,000 times a day later, gets a little bit... Yes, you go tell them. Gets a little bit frustrating. And there are many times I wish to surgically implant purple squirrel in places of Fiona that she would never have dreamed purple squirrel could fit. Because I was getting a little bit fed up with it. But purple freaking squirrel, he was a common participant to my gaming streams because, of course, you're awake. Yes, but I'm busy. But you're awake. You can be throwing the squirrel. I'm busy. Throw the squirrel. Throw the squirrel. I do not want to throw the effing squirrel. You know? There we go. So yes, purple frigging squirrel. So, so I'm just actually. So yes, I much as I loved Fiona, when Fiona died, she got to take that fucking thing with her. We were not having more of the purple squirrel. As she's outside, what we do have though is we also have, this is nearly equally a problem, but hence generally lives out of sight, so that we don't have the throw it, because we're not very good at catching, and because it is a rubber dog ball, It's a small rubber dog ball, but it's a rubber dog ball. It does mean destruction of property if not paying attention. And, well, don't be needing that, you know. I kind of like my stuff. One of my robins, I have a hear no evil, speak no evil, see no evil set of robins. And, hello! And my robins already have, one of them has broken feet. Now, it was me, admittedly. I took my clock down, got it wrong. And the clock whacked Robin off the the plinth of the fireplace. And, well, Robin didn't fly. So he's now got glued feet, but hello, how you doing there, friend? How are you doing? It's too hot, Rory. You should just sit and do nothing. That's my advice. Sit around and do nothing. It's too hot for that. Oops, thrown a pin. Oh, I'll have to dig that out. Hang on. Go play hunt the pin. Hang on. There it is. I do love how on a metal detector, the back of the holster is metal, the end of the holster's metal, so of course it constantly will detect itself. Seems a really stupid design if you ask me, surely. It's the one time you really don't expect it to be metal. there's the top left hand corner. Now, don't suppose my thing's joined back up yet? No. Let me go to the app to zoom it in on this and do, I think it's that one, and then we need to go up. And then we need to go left. So you get a better view than I do, but there is the top left hand corner with snakes and my fancy bobbins. Moreover, you need to go back on that one. So, you get back on that like that. You come down onto a stick. But we have, I know it's only been an hour and a half, but in this weather, an hour and a half is a really long time. I'm really pleased with the bobbins, to be honest. That is the most important part of all of this. I am pleased with the bobbins. The whole weight of them just gives, so when I put them down and I put them down here, it pulls on the thread just a tiny bit just to keep the tension on, which is nice. And part of the reason people do, so someone sent me a Facebook friend request and I don't know who they are, but it's half the reason people put spangles on the bottom. The other half is to stop them rolling around. But if I use this one, these kind of have a dampening effect, so they don't tend to roll. They can roll and they don't resist rolling, but you knock them and they roll a bit, but they don't go flying. You know, they have kind of inertia dampeners on them, so from that point of view it's quite a nice thing. I kind of like that. It does have that advantage, and so these bobbins really are kind of everything I hoped. They look pretty, they weigh a lot, which I like, they're good to use, they're practical. I am still treating them a little bit delicate because I'm pretty sure all of the ball bearings are going to fall off, but that's because some of them did, which is why, for those who weren't here earlier, we finished gluing them all up yesterday, and when I got up this morning, this bunch, all the ball bearings had fallen off because the last lot I hot glued, and well, I've come to a realisation about hot glue is that hot glue comes in stick format, alright, and these sticks have no tackiness whatsoever. It's like candle wax, and when you melt it, it melts, but when it hardens again, it's got the same feel as candle wax, and so this kind of waxy kind of plastic shit doesn't grip nothing. So yeah, all of the ends came off. But if I grab this lot, now they are slightly spayed apart and a few are hiding down the side, but hang on, try and get them all to come out. There we go. these were the ones that were good, so we're kind of halfway through, which is quite kind of surprising actually. I'm going to put these in the bag to continue. Actually, I really want to wait, but by tomorrow, that will be 24 hours. I mean, it's only a small glob of glue. I could have sworn I picked all the hot glue off on the outside, but I missed one, clearly. I don't really want to leave them there because it's not a good plan, so I'll put you in here along with the others, like this, so they can all live in there. So yes, definitely pleased with my bobbins. You know, they weren't hard to make, they weren't expensive to make. I mean, I can buy commercial bobbins cheaper, but not that look this fancy. But even so, even the really cheap commercial ones aren't a lot cheaper. But obviously these take time and a bit of effort, but not a lot of time. It's just waiting for things to dry mainly. So obviously you colour them, need to wait for them to dry a bit. Glue some stuff on, need to wait for the stud glue to set enough. Varnish it, need to wait for the garnish to set, and it's done. So it's not a complicated process. They don't have to be varnished, except these do, because when you colour it with Sharpie, the Sharpie comes off because there is so much pigment in it. So you varnish it to kind of seal it in a little bit. And to be honest, it's kind of nice because I used matte varnish. It's giving the thread quite a bit to grip on, so it doesn't tend to slip. I've noticed that already. I mean, we've adjusted a few bobbins, but we've not really had the excessive lengthening of bobbin. But yeah, I'm really pleased with how it's turning out. As I say, we're halfway through the loading of bobbins. Start on the other half tomorrow. Or I will do a bit more, because I'm not so proud. This is the documenting this process is less important. It's not that you haven't seen all of these things before in some way, shape or form. So, you know, if I had a few bobbins during the day tomorrow because I get a chance, then I will. Don't think I've got too many meetings tomorrow. That's a bit of a shame. Meetings are a good time to wind bobbins and hang them over pins. I can pray for a quiet day. It's Friday tomorrow, isn't it? Please tell me it's Friday tomorrow. Really sure it's Friday tomorrow. It's Friday tomorrow. That's good. I get up early. And yeah. I will be only doing a short day. So then we can do more of this in the afternoon, but it will be arse-numbingly hot. But yeah, we can do more tomorrow. Definitely more tomorrow. But I'm feeling very pleased with it. It is everything I hoped it would be at this point. We haven't had any of the ball bearings come off. Admittedly, I'm not using any of the ball bearings as roses at the moment, but none of them have come off. I haven't had to chase the dog off them or anything, so because that was kind of a worry if they were going to fall off. But they haven't come off yet. Those that are on seem fairly well on. I mean, I didn't smack them too hard. I'm not that daft, but I did give them a bit of a kind of a gentle push. So I don't know. It's we just need to stonk through the 3 strips that I've got and join them onto the other 3 strips to make what would be the width of a curtain, to fully appreciate the gravitas of the situation. Because basically, although these 3 strips are going to be shorter than our test strips. We're going to practice more of this join and see if we can't maybe even it up slightly so that this row doesn't look quite so big. But yeah, well, technically it's this way, isn't it? But we're going to do some auditions for decorations. These auditions already are here, hence we do not have repeats of these. I also like this because if I brush it like this across the velvet, it kind of irons it flat for me, which is quite nice. So yeah, these are a bit longer. They're kind of like, I don't know, not quite twice as long, but they're a good, you know, this much longer, I think. So, you know, but see, this I quite like, but it's too big like this. I don't hate this, the original. I just think it's a little too much spider of the same variety. So because this is a reoccurring pattern all the way down the edge, the fact that it kind of repeats throughout all of these is a bit much. Hence the first audition is going to be one of those, but obviously in the middle, so I'm going to give it a better view. Put some squovels in it. So I've got a single squoval, 4, and then 9, and then 16, and then we get onto a thing that's going to be a disaster, because it just is. It's just going to be a disaster, I know it is, because it kind of needs a gimp thread to make it look right, which could still work. I mean, it really could, but already gone off the idea of that one. And then what's after that? I don't remember what's after that. Hang on. What comes after that? Oh, so after that is kind of some mini little cloth stitch kind of diamonds, the Eye of Sauron, and a mini cathedral arch spider. Now I think they could work really well, the cathedral arches. If we pull out the other strips, on strip 2 we have, hang on, a bigger cathedral arch, a diamond inside a diamond, those woody kind of hexagon things inside a diamond, rose ground inside a diamond, cathedral arch inside a diamond, one of these squarey things inside a diamond, a mother of all cathedral arches. That's not going to come out so well, I don't think. Tallies. Now, knowing my luck, this will look spectacular. I can already tell you I do not want to do these, but I thought I'd include it for good measure. And then this one, where you join the two pairs together for plaits and intersect them inside a diamond. So I think that could look really quite nice. But again, and to be honest, it should be fairly easy. But in practice, I haven't really done too many of those, so all new ways to screw it up, I think, is the short answer. But I'm kind of looking forward. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this turns out, because at quick glance, this doesn't show that this is two strips joined together. So I really am kind of excited to make a curtain like this, because although we know it's made in strips, it doesn't scream we're made in strips. And if I hadn't put the spiders in, you wouldn't be so drawn to the line in it. You know, if I'd done something else. I still think it's very disappointing that the more traditional join was not a success. It would have got very messy, because, you know, when you're on like number 6 and you've got you know, 5 strips of 1 metre dangling off the edge and you're trying to join them, that could get really kind of frustrating. But I do think that it's a shame, because the reason it didn't work is it flattened out the bumps and made it look like a line, and realistically it shouldn't. But I think, but for some reason it just kind of did. So what you have to do is, you would, when making this row on the left, you would have piece next, well, you do it on this side, so if this was here, the new piece would come along, pop up a loop and poke 1 bobbin through it, so it effectively ties a knot around the end. And you'd think that it would just make them pointy. It doesn't seem to. We could try again. We could give it another go. Because it would save joining them later. But then each time you did this, what would be this last pin on this side, you'd be doing the join. And I think, I feel that that's a little bit fidgety. It's easy. It's actually not that hard to sew them together afterwards. She says, looking at it, I didn't do the very, very early joins on humongously well. But even looking at it, it's close up. It's kind of almost hard to see how I did it. But what I did was, I came up through like the square that's made by the crossover on this pin, wound it round, looped, came back, wound it round, came up through the cross, so I'm constantly kind of spiraling through it. That's all it was. Oh, yawn. But even looking at it, you know, sticking my nose on it down here, you know, my nose is this far from it. It is still fairly invisible, which I really quite like. The little diamonds between them that normally form a little circle do kind of give it away a little bit. But, and then this one being slightly bigger, but it's not a lot I can do about that. But from face value, it really is. It looks like a fold line where you've had it folded. So, you know, it is pretty invisible. And technically, I can do the same going back the other way, which we will try. Which is why we're going to do 3 test strips, not 1 really long strip, so we can practice the joins a bit. Try and perfect our joining art form. But I'm going to leave you for today. I will be back 2 o'clock-ish tomorrow. Moaning about the heat, no doubt, because it is just not funny. Move this because I need to put my laptop here tomorrow. That's right, my bobbin winder on my table. But yes, all in all, a successful day, I feel. Thank you for joining me. Sorry it's a bit of a shorter one than usual. I know some of my weekly ones are a bit short. But by the time I've sat down, counted my fingers and toes, had some food, it's already well into the evening. And, well, I am old, is the short answer. And so, you know, starting stuff at 8 o'clock at night, you know, for some of my friends, 8 o'clock at night is bedtime. So, let's truly be honest, I've got a couple of people I know who are in bed by 8. So, and there's me, I'm starting a stream. And I'm going to have to upload the video and you know. But, oh, I need to take a photo, don't I? Dumbass. Dumb person. So, let's take Do we want to do that, or do we want to do piles of my bobbins? Let's do piles of my bobbins. Let's do this. Take picture of pile of my bobbins. There we go, pile of bobbins. Have that as a thumbnail. Right. I shall put these back actually, so that they're out of the way. Like this. Put you down and then you down. So there's a nice gap in the middle. I shall see you tomorrow. Thank you for coming. Sorry it's not been the most exciting stream of the day, but I thank you anyway. Take care everybody. Bye bye.